I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What is going on, everybody? We're one day removed from the Money in the Bank 2020 pay-per-view, but tonight's Raw kind of felt like post-WrestleMania, a stacked show from top to bottom. We're going through each and every single thing because there's so much to write home about. Before we do, we got to introduce the All-Star panel. And first, can I say this personally? This guy looks so cute with his beard all gone. Give it up for the voice of the AEW Dynamite After Show, Mr. Jack Farmer.
I'm a new man. It's a new me. I'm all cleaned up and shaved up. A big show. It needs a clean face from Jack Farmer. Thanks for having me as always.
Oh yeah, baby face, quite literally. Also in the panel today, he is the CEO, creative, real talker, Patreons coming soon, meet and greeting celebrities and all that. Give up hashtag Heal Jim Alexander.
Hey, these days not meeting celebrities, they're just coming into the King's Court, okay? We got new members. We got things coming tonight. There's a lot to talk about. I'm keeping busy. You know how it is.
Oh, yeah. We're never talking about your boy Otis. But before we get to that,
hell no.
This guy's a rising star here at AfterBuzz TV Wrestling and Sports, and is the host of our co-host of the Believe in NXT podcast and Believe Podcast Network, and also writes for Fansided. Give it up for Mr. Cedric Welton. How's it going, sir?
Going great, man. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to talk about this show. It's a lot to dissect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, one day removed from Money in the Bank, which is kind of like the King of the Ring replacement, right? The big five, if there was one. Jim, I want to start with you. Your boy Otis is the Money in the Bank winner. Thoughts about that real quick before you go into Monday Night Raw? Because I just want to hear your take about the awesomeness that is Otis, your boy.
Don't you ever say those words. My boy and Otis never and will never go in the same sentence together. That big walrus log. It was the biggest travesty I've ever seen in Money in a Bank. It was literally the worst Money in a Bank winner in the history of wrestling. By far, I am excluding Damian Sandow and Jack Swagger. They look like main event superstars compared to that ogre, that walrus taking and stealing that Money in a Bank from my boy, Baron Corbin. First of all, it would have been better if freaking anyone got it. I'd rather the referee get it than him. This is a waste of a Money in a Bank case. This is the biggest sham in wrestling. This makes the Katie Vick story look like the NWO angle. This is the worst thing. No. Yes, it is.
No. You can't compare necrophilia to Otis when the Money in the Bank is being worse.
This is the most embarrassing Money in a Bank winner of all time.
45 minutes of Jim calling Otis different names. This is
great. I hear you. Jack, I know you were on the Money in the Bank after show, but I mean, just for people who didn't watch that quite yet, just overall thoughts about the Money in the Bank before hitting the Raw tonight.
Listen, I know Jim's upset and I get where he's coming from, but people always tell me every single day that WWE needs to push new stars and give new opportunities to new people. That's what it was. And if you're unhappy with this, then quit saying we need new stars, because that's what this is. It's the surprise new guy.
Yep.
You got to keep it. You got to, if you don't like this, then be happy with the same people winning all the time. That's what I say.
Oh, hot take, Cedric.
Man, I got to say, I was surprised. I had low expectations for the actual cinematography of the Money in the Bank, but I love the entire match. I was surprised Otis won, but I hear they're going to do some different things with the case this year. I hear dogs barking, not mine.
That's Roman Reigns.
Chasing Otis out of the damn WWE.
I think Otis will win. I don't have that many flagrant takes, but it definitely wasn't as bad as James Ellsworth grabbing a briefcase at all.
That was pretty bad. And that wasn't even his gender. That wasn't even... All right, so let's talk about Monday Night Raw today. Top story, it broke the internet if you're a wrestling fan. Becky Lynch has to vacate the Raw Women's Championship because she is with child, saying that, hey, Asuka, you actually won the actual title last night. You're the new champion. So everyone's saying, yo, Becky, congratulations on becoming a mother, except for Shayna Baszler. Jack Farmer, I'm going to walk you through this, man. Becky Lynch was on top of the world. She was a mountain. She was a man. She was everything. And now, just like that, she decided to take another direction. Thoughts about that?
This is a win-win-win for everybody. One, I think it's fantastic news for Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins. I'm super happy for them. I think it's great that they're going to be working on a family. That's good. I think it gives us some breathing room between Becky Lynch being on TV all the time. It keeps her strong. It gives an opportunity for Asuka now to be a champion. I think it works out for everybody.
Jim, you're nodding your head like, yeah, hell yeah.
No, here's the thing. Don't you all nerds at home, don't you send me tweets or anything blaming that I had anything to do with Becky Lynch disappearing off TV.
Because you block everybody. Don't send you tweets.
True, I don't need nerds to mess with me. But here's the thing. She was never in a king's court. She will never be in a king's court. And finally, two things I've been always saying. What happens when you put stock into one person and then something happens and they can't, either injury, this case, obviously she's having a kid, she can't perform. All you've invested is suddenly taken away. What happens to the Lacey Evans? All the other ones that we've been saying, give them a shine of like, don't make Becky look like a damn superhero. And now what? Now you're stuck trying to build stars from the ground up when you're caught in a space where you don't have anyone step in immediately. Luckily, somewhat they've been building Asuka lately for the last month or so, so it's somewhat legible for that to happen. But this is what happens when you don't build stars. You put your chips all on a table in one person, and then she has to leave. And now what? See, I've been telling you for a year already. Listen
Hold on. Wait. You want to build stars, but you can't stomach Otis, first of all. And then Lacey Evans is on SmackDown. What are you talking about? But Cedric, look, Becky Lynch was the man, and now she's gone. Everyone's saying congratulations, but Shayna Baszler didn't have that match. The match we were looking for, the real rematch. Baszler, Becky, didn't happen, but now she's even more surly than ever before. Thoughts about that?
You know what? I think I'm even more excited for Baszler Asuka to happen than Lynch, because I don't think that ever happened in NXT. I think Baszler left, Asuka left through injury. Baszler became champion that way. But either way, this is a win all around, man. This is, if anything, this is perfect timing for Becky Lynch. Fans are kind of cooling off on her. Can you imagine the pop that she's going to get at Raw after Mania next year in LA?
If there's a crowd, sure.
That's the first thing I thought of. I was like, Raw after Mania about to be lit. Because when she actually, her music hits, like, that's going to be ridiculous, because it, like Jack said, it keeps her strong. If anything, Seth did the right thing, because they weren't going to write Becky Lynch off. I'm just saying, if anything, he did the right thing.
I have to do this.
It keeps her strong. She gets to ride off in the sunset.
He was talking about.
And exactly, that's why he was stressed out today. He's like, hey.
How do you know she's going to return in a year? Dude, what's the kid going to be by itself in a home? Like, infants are going to leave it there? No, she's going to be gone for years potentially. I mean, this is not like, oh, she's got an injury. You're going to be back, 3 to 4 months. She's having a kid. Okay, she's committing to being a mother. She might never return. Look at Marie. She wasn't. I mean, granted, she didn't have that star power or anything like that. But Maurice never came back after having a kid. Maybe she wants to have another kid then. Mother life could change her forever. You might not see her again in this ring. Maybe a sort of a Bella thing. Look, I mean, that's another.
Bellas are definitely still trying to wrestle again, man. They haven't won.
But you don't know. You don't know how it's going to change that. So don't expect, she's going to get a pop. This might be the last you see her now, as an in-ring competitor.
The rumors are already swirling that the baby's signing with AEW.
Good, whatever it is.
The Dark Order. So I want to say this, even though it was kind of bold and I was expecting it, I like the fact that Shayna basically was like the heel audience surrogate. Be like, I can't believe a champion would ever do that. How could she ever succumb to motherhood? And I'm going to be the really dastardly villain. I have no idea why she was so mad. When Natalya stood up for Becky Lynch, you got beat up for it. So the thought about this, because Shayna Baszler's finishing move is use the capital clutch, but she won via knee strike. Cedric, thoughts about that? I mean, Shayna Baszler's trying to switch up her moves for a Raw audience. Does it work for you or does it not? Somewhere in between?
I love it. They play up the whole MMA thing with her all the time, calling her the cage fighter, which I hate, but I mean, it's accurate. So winning with strikes, I'm all for it. Switches up her game. You don't know how she's going to get the finish now. It just makes her more deadly.
Jim, you're the resident McMahon on the panel. What do you think?
About what?
About Shayna Baszler's, her new version of heelish character.
Yeah, she needs to be. This is who she is. She's an ass kicker, and she's a major heel. So this is how she should be selling it. She is right now looks like the legit, because obviously turned Asuka overnight from a heel to a face. I mean, let's face it, she was still a heel coming into Money in a Bank, and suddenly she's a face. They had to, because they have no faces right now. Shayna Baszler's got to be the top heel right now, even though Nia Jax it fell through the wayside now somehow in this Money in the Bank. The Money in the Bank really screwed up a lot of routes for a lot of wrestlers. But okay, well, I agree. So that's all that matters. So what matters now is for Shayna Baszler to be the baddest heel and to be not taking prisoners, kicking ass, and throwing out verbal punches. And I love how she did it, because I agree with it.
Jack, final thought about this. Shayna Baszler, she's gonna be the one to watch.
This was a star-making episode for her. She came off phenomenally as a fantastic heel. Her promos were golden. They were so that perfect blur of reality and show blurring together. And the knee, it's interesting she won with the knee because it seems a lot of wrestlers are moving away from top rope finishes and from submission finishes and going for a lot of those quick strike finishes. It seems to be the flavor of the time right now.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the, well, I won't say a lot of them, but I think there's a time when the Attitude Era where all the best finishing moves came out of nowhere. Like rock bottom, Stone Cold Stunner, like those are the ones. Even the pedigree, which had some setup, was always like off the top rope, kick to the midsection.
I don't know, man. We saw a full Nelson tonight, man. I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah. I know. Even he was like, "You still
that
got
was Bobby Lashley, though. I don't know if that counts.
We will talk about him. We'll talk about him in a minute. But once Becky Lynch walks off to the sunset, we got some returns. The Iconics, Jim Alexander, your girls, Australian Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, they're back, and they actually took down the current women's tag team champions.
This was paradise for me because obviously no one has more love for Australians than I do, Australian women in particular. So it was great to see him because I've kept them around in a King's Court every week. So you guys forgot about them, but I didn't. It's a shame these two were out 7 months apparently. Like they're too good on the mic and in the ring, arguably one of the best on the mic in the women's division, for them to be gone for no reason for that long without an injury or anything like that. That was a complete joke. So to see them back where they should be on Raw, they should be pushed to the top right now, give them back the tag team titles and let them shine because you lost obviously you invested in Becky, so now start investing who you have available. I thought it was great to see the Iconics back. You saw what you missed with them because they bring so much to the table with entertainment, in ring. It gives you a different style, different look. I liked how they had obviously Alexa there on Raw tonight too, and how they introduced them during the moment of bliss. So this was cool. I liked it all around. I thought it was a good move to bring him back and having Alexa kind of introduce, have him there in the talk show.
I knew something was up when both the Iconics appeared in the New Day podcast today out of nowhere. I was like, that was pretty interesting. Jack Farmer, that the Iconics are a unit as far as their character is concerned. It's cool that they returned. Do you really see them being the next women's tag team champions, or is this kind of just a feud to establish or to reestablish that division?
What's old is new again. This was the feud that started the women's tag team division in a lot of ways, these two teams. And I was saying on Twitter, it's interesting. Raw traded away Bliss and Cross to get Brock Lesnar, and now all three of them are on Raw. I think whoever's running Raw is doing a bang-up job. It's funny, we're supposed to boo the Iconics, but if there was a crowd here, I think that crowd would have lit up for these two coming back. Everyone wants them back. I don't know why they weren't around to begin with or what they've been doing, but I hope they are here to stay. I hope they get more TV time. There's no reason I can see that they shouldn't be on TV more often, either of them.
Well, I'll tell you why, because maybe I am a bit of a heel when it comes to them or have a negative outlook. But my thing about the Iconics were they were good characters, but I wasn't a fan of the in-ring work. But tonight, they made me eat my words. Cedric, thoughts about this? The Iconics are here. Look, they're a Raw talent. Is this now the time to build up the women's division or nah?
Yeah, man, make the women's tag team titles relevant again. They've been just like by the wayside for so long. And like piggybacking off everybody said, like the Iconics are entertaining. And that's the one thing that the brands have been missing for the women's division is entertainment. They're hilarious, whether it's on camera, backstage interviews. I was happy to see them back. And like you said, they did add some new repertoire to their moveset. So it's only going to make it more exciting in this feud with Bliss and Cross. Even if they never do get the tag team titles again, it just makes it more exciting to make that division have some parity.
Oh, yeah. Parity is what you need because it's like if Bliss and Cross don't have it, it's like, no, okay, who else?
Right.
Before we move on to our next topic, Jack Farmer, can you do me a favor and tell the world how they can listen to this AfterBuzz show and all those other AfterBuzz shows?
Yeah, you can check us out on YouTube, on iTunes, on Spotify. And it's because of listeners and viewers like you that make us the ESPN of TV talk. And of course, like every show you hear on any of these platforms, we got to do it. We got to ask you, please click that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Please fill in a comment and please give us a 5-star review and take it one step further. Be a super fan and share it with all of your friends. That's how we grow. That's how we continue to keep getting to do all this cool and amazing stuff. So do it or else.
Or else they have nothing to do. Don't worry, they will do it.
was going to say you're the nicest heel ever, Jack. Do it or else. So, let's talk about someone who did things and took their own hands. Seth Rollins, a wayward messiah, came out with quarantine hair during his match. And I guess after the match, it's kind of inconsequential, but he injured Rey Mysterio, which is kind of messed up. That Rey Mysterio used to be one of the best wrestlers of all time at one point, but he gets his eye injured today. Now, I'm not really sure what's going to happen as far as Mysterio, but the thing I want to talk to you about, Cedric, is Seth Rollins. Here's a guy that is a messiah. Two of his followers have fallen on the wayside. Strained relationship with Buddy Murphy, and now it looks like he can't even put a ponytail together. What's up with your boy Seth?
One, I didn't understand why they ended the match right there. I was a little bit shocked by that because, I mean, he's technically part of the match. He just pulled Ray out of the ring. But I think what they're doing with Seth is kind of interesting. And he's always going to be around one of the main acts on Raw, one of the Iron Men of the whole company. But what they're doing is kind of giving him split personalities, and I don't want to make it sound like Bray and The Fiend, but It could be something like that, which is interesting because when he went backstage, he was like, I don't know what happened. He was blacked out. So if they're doing that with this Messiah
I don't know,
character,
Randy Orton, maybe the guy that's on the roster currently.
It's very Festus. I was thinking Festus, but you're right.
Festus, bell rings, and just man, I don't know about that. That's a slight to Seth. If he has multiple personalities with his in-ring work, man, it's gonna be dope.
I figure that. Jim, you saying no?
I'm saying they're just doing the gimmick that Randy Orton had, and it's been working with for a few months already, apparently. Listen, I like it. Seth is at least trying and reinventing things, right? He's not keeping things, so he's switching things up constantly, right? Things aren't working. Guys are getting injured. He needs to keep on reinventing. So he's keeping it fresh for different new feuds. I mean, maybe now he's working the angle that he didn't want to have the kid, right? I mean, he was kind of pissed at Ray for bringing it up. I kind of like that idea. That maybe this is something that'll prevent him from being at top of his game. So that might be something that irritates him and motivates him forward to prove him wrong. Okay.
Wait, how dare you ask me about fatherhood? Smack? That doesn't...
Yeah, exactly. Listen, this is Seth. I like what they're doing. It keeps it interesting. It's too much similar to Randy Orton, though. I'll say Randy was the first one in the game for it, but it works. I get Seth. I get in those moods like he does too. So when I have stupid people saying stupid things, so I get it.
Seems like it's all happens often. Jack, it looked like they were going to tease a Seth Rollins.
Speaking of stupid people saying stupid things, Jack. Good transition.
Well, it looked like it was going to be a Seth Rollins, Aleister Black thing, but then Buddy Murphy got involved and Seth evaporated or walked back. What were your thoughts about that? Is it ready for a Seth Rollins, Aleister Black feud, or is that going to be held off for now?
That would be a fantastic feud. Those two are amazing, and I think we all would love to see that rivalry build. I love where Seth Rollins is going. I love the eye getting taken out of Rey Mysterio. No one's making a big enough deal about the fact that we basically unmasked Rey Mysterio tonight. But I love where this is going, and I don't know if we're going to get it at Backlash, but I think the end game of all this is going to be Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins. And I think it can definitely be a king-making moment for someone like Aleister Black. If he can get a win over Seth Rollins in a legitimate feud, he's a made man and he's a main eventer, and that's exactly where he should be. This could be the start of an amazing career for Aleister Black.
There's only two kings, Jack. Me and Baron Corbin. Watch your words.
Ugh. Welcome, Cedric, to the group. Now, I will say this. Maybe I'm a wrestling purist, but I hate the fact that Backlash comes after Money in the Bank and Mania. Is that a thing? Am I just weird? I feel like the name.
No, I agree with you. I
I
like the name Backlash right after WrestleMania because it feels like it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do for the cinematic match. We're going to find out. But before we
gotta keep the hooks involved too.
Oh yeah, the crime and punishment pendulum or whatever. Before we move on to our next topic, it's now time to Jim Alexander's favorite segment, the King's Court.
That's right.
All hail, Jim Alexander, the smartest and most handsomest and greatest of all time.
No.
Hey, I'm Rusev.
You know it, Jack. You know it, Jack.
We miss our drops. That's what we do.
I was playing Baron Corbin's music in the background here, so I kind of muted it all. But here's the thing. The King's Court is alive and well. Every week, it just keeps on getting better and better, and new people coming in. Listen, Becky Lynch, congratulations to her. But these kind of things, don't happen unless Liv Morgan comes out and cuts a promo next week on Raw. Then you can talk about the King's Court having something to do with that. But as always, the queen of the King's Court, Liv freaking Morgan, right here at the top of the King's Court. Okay, we have my Iiconics, both of Billy Kay looking like $1 million now. I love the new hair for my girl Peyton Royce. Come on in. We're bringing in Charlie Caruso. She's got a new Charlie Caruso has a new hairstyle almost every week. I'm digging it. Bring in Charlie Caruso. Okay, Zelina Vega, Bianca Belair. We got plenty of room, okay, here in the King's Court, but no room for that traitor, Mandy Rose. You are still suspended because you're with that hog out on SmackDown. That is.
If she likes somebody, what's the big deal? She wasn't dating you before, Jim. Come on.
Guys like that could never get chicks like her. That's the truth of the moment. And all of you nerds in the chat, you know you can just dream of being like that, Otis, because that is not reality. I will tell you what reality. Guys like me are reality.
Be somebody else. That's what you're telling me.
Be me. Okay, that's what you need to be in a King's Court. We have the jesters outside of the King's Court. All those minions in the chat, you are way out of the King's Court. You're just waiting to stop everyone from coming in because there's a blockade of that. And of course, this is how it's rolling in the King's Court these days. Always busy, always good. This is the best time you can have right here.
Leave Otis alone. Moving
Never.
on.
It's shameful.
So, Cedric, I know you're a lifelong fan of the wrestling arts and sciences. Randy Orton and Edge, two of the greatest of all times. If you ask in certain circles, I agree with one of them. Looks like they're on a collision course for another match. Randy Orton, to his credit, has put over a regular wrestling match. This story I thought was over at WrestleMania. Doesn't seem to be. Thoughts about their stare down tonight on Monday Night Raw?
Man, I've been tweeting this since last Monday. Like, what the heck? Like, why? Like, why are we here? This is just why. But once the promo started and Randy started spitting, I was like, oh, okay. I'm invested again because it makes sense. You came back at Royal Rumble, came back at Mania, non-traditional wrestling matches. So you ain't really got your boots really warm since 2011. It made perfect sense to me. Like mentally, I'm back invested, and I want to see Edge go bell to bell with Orton. And again, I think this is like really underlooked in wrestling circles is the fact that he's working with Orton because it's very safe for him to work with Orton right now.
Yeah.
So if they got to keep running it back, I'm all for it. Keep Edge healthy, keep him in the fold for a long time.
Yeah, there's like a very short list of like people I think are super safe. Miz, Cesaro, like there's a certain kind of a class of people. I wouldn't like, hey, you can Goldberg, you'd probably kill him, you know?
Yeah.
Jim Alexander, look, you know me, I'm not a big Edge fan, but even that, I'm on board. Your thoughts about this?
Here's the problem here. There's well, here's the thing. The problem is these guys can work. The news is that they're too good because they can work with each other for the rest of the year and still make it interesting and good. You could have a 5-round series out of these two, no question, because they're going to bring fresh storylines. They're going to keep on reinventing. They're the two best right now by far in the business out there. Without Corona or with Corona, doesn't matter. They're the best right now on the roster when it comes to promos and carrying out feuds and just the in-ring work. So these guys can work for a long time. They can drag it out to SummerSlam. The problem here is Edge's got a limited amount of dates that you can use him for, right? What does he have, a handful of dates to use him for? You don't want it all used up on Randy Orton, right? I get the first match of them being together in a ring because it makes sense. They've worked together in past, ring rust, all that. In a first wrestling match, it's good to have Randy Orton on your side. Someone you're gonna work with really well. But it's got to end after that because you need to introduce Edge to other guys to elevate other guys on a roster. There's never been a need more than now to elevate whoever is appearing every week. So you have a guy like Edge. We don't know how long he's going to wrestle. Maybe this is his only year. Who knows how long he stays in the game? He's got a limited amount of time. Hopefully they're going to do a bomb job like they are. They're going to knock it out of the park in Backlash, and then we're going to get a new feud for Edge and Orton going forward.
Well, I got to say, like, if you think about the calendar now, we don't know if there's going to be a July pay-per-view. There shouldn't be, but it may happen. And I think if I was a casual fan, I'll say, okay, Money in the Bank is a ladder match, cool. SummerSlam is a big event. I'm not buying Backlash. I think this is actually pretty strategic to have it now, no? Jim?
Jack? Me? Oh, well,
No,
okay. Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think it's too early. You should have saved that for SummerSlam, especially if he has it would have been fine not to have them for a while out on TV. I mean, you can get by. They've been getting by every week without him. I know you wanted to add some star power and punch, but like you said, this is more of a SummerSlam than a Backlash match. I mean, you're seeing the Edge's first return to the ring in what, 9 years, right? I mean, it's been a long time. So you save that for a bigger show. But I mean, listen, they've been jumping the gun on everything here, right? We got already Rollins versus Drew McIntyre. They don't like to wait around here, okay? With WWE, I get the situation, but it's better when it's built out because it means more. But it is what it is. I just hope by SummerSlam, at least both of them have a really solid feud, because it has to move to something good after this, because they knocked it out of the park.
Jack, Jim makes a good point, Jack. What exactly is he?
Do.
What exactly is a big show versus a small show where there's no fans in attendance? And are you on board for Randy Orton versus Edge in a wrestling match?
It's all perception when it comes to big shows and small shows, and it's always been that way with wrestling, whether there's a crowd or not. But regarding Edge and Orton, let me tell you this. I have always been someone who likes the quote-unquote older stars, and you can see that throughout me talking about this show. I love the guys who've been around for a long time. And this is a good example why. When you're a young guy, you can get by with potential. You can get by with flashy moves. You can get by with a young person's shredded body. But when you're older, when you're these guys' age, if you are getting a main event mic time spot, it's because you are a legend. And these two guys are legends, and they proved it again tonight with that promo. They nailed it 100%. And whether I was into it or out of it before this promo, I am all in right now because they got it exactly right.
All in, huh? I know you're doing. I know
Charlie Caruso said it's the best match, could be their best wrestling match ever, okay, in history of wrestling. So
yeah, that's over.
Do you think they're both kind of like, shut up, Charlie?
Yeah.
Don't get into that one.
Hey, we're not going to Saudi Arabia. Calm down.
Right.
Equal or greater than to WrestleMania. But for the next topic, Jack Farmer, don't you have a special announcement for those of us all in attendance all across the globe?
I do. Today, we are being sponsored by a legitimate sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you're at home and sometimes something happens and you need the proper response, but you're quarantined, you're alone, and you're not getting that crowd feedback. So for those people, I present to you SmartButton. SmartButton.com offers an amazing product where you can, let's go ahead and open it up right now, shall we, folks?
It's not candles, right?
He's opening a box.
SmartButton.com. You hit the button and you get great audience responses like, this is awesome, you deserve it, and others as well. Now, I'm talking into the headphones, so I'm not going to do it live because the sound won't do it justice. Do yourself a favor, visit smartbutton.com today and buy your own. It's a fun treat to have around the house. You're not going to regret it.
For
Best
those
thing
of you,
we've sponsored here in a long time.
Also true. Those of you on the audio only, he's holding up a button the size of his palm. You hit a button on top and it says, wow, we are selling out hardcore. All right, so
yes.
Walk me through this, man. Here's somebody I usually trash in the show. His name is Robert Lashley. Bobby Lashley was involved in a match against Umberto Carrillo, which I thought was pretty solid. But then MVP meets him up in the back and he's like, yo, man, you the same spot you was here 12 years ago, that tough brotherly love. And actually, Alana's kind of feeling kind of slighted there. Let's talk about the evolution of Bobby Lashley. You know, he won his match, sort of, you know. Did he win his match? I think he did. Yeah. And he did the MVP pep talk. Thoughts about Bobby Lashley's storyline now as it stands. And do you think MVP is trying to get inside Bobby Lashley's inner circle with his wife? That sounds weird. You know what I'm saying?
Who are you asking?
Cedric.
Man, only every time I see Bobby Lashley on TV these days, it's like, man, they backpedaling real hard from that Lana Rusev storyline, man. That backpedal stronger than Deion Sanders right now. But I like the maturation of Bobby Lashley. I like that they're building him strong. Like we talked about earlier, the full Nelson thing is pretty cool, adding a submission to his moveset. And of course, I think they're trying to get Bobby away from Lana the cleanest way possible. And I haven't really been here for this MVP farewell tour, but I mean, it gives him something to do and builds him a new stable if he already has Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne, who are, I guess, are still in NXT, but just appearing on Raw, kind of like Tozawa getting squashed every Monday night. We just have it. So whatever we got with Lashley moving forward, I mean, I don't think it'll lead to a title shot, but I mean, it gets him
You're wrong.
relevant.
Just before I get the chat's asking Jack if there's a promo code for that smart button. Got a promo code for it?
There's no promo code because you always get a fair price at smartbutton.com.
That's right.
Go there, check it out. They got a video. You can see how it goes. They don't overcharge for the sake of overcharging. You don't need a promo code. It's a fair deal with or without one.
And it's there to last, not burn out. So here's things of that's not burning out. My boy. Okay, my boy Lashley. I've been calling it every week. You've seen the rise. Don't worry, Lana will be fine. There's room in the King's Court for her. Bobby Lashley right now, it's all about Bobby.
Lord.
It's all about Bobby these days. You see him every week being featured more and more, squashing people, getting through it. I like everything. This is going straight into a championship title match for him. I'm telling you, they're lining him up for Drew McIntyre down the road. Might be SummerSlam, might be a little bit later, but that's what's coming to us because Bobby Lashley's squashing people. When he gets MVP by his side, we were talking about a best talking head for him. There's no one better possibly you could get than MVP. And you have Bobby Lashley, the one guy, they've tried Leo Rush, but these guys weren't over. MVP can talk on him like no one else. And he's over because he was a former champion. The guy's been around, he's legitimate, not unlike Leo Rush or some of these other guys trying to match him. This is what Bobby Lashley needed. You bring him with MVP, MVP can build him up, make him feel like $1 million, and he's going to squash people in the ring. My boy is finally pushing tires, and he's pushing his way to the top. He should have been in that Money in the Bank. He should have won that briefcase potentially, but not my boy Baron Corbin instead of that slug. But here's the thing, Bobby Lashley is going to be a championship contender coming soon because I see great things for my boy.
First of all, your boy is like 43 years old, so that's not
don't matter.
But I'll say
he looks young.
Hold on, dude. I'm about to agree with you. So don't. I'm about to agree with you because everyone who knows me, who's watched the show or listens or whatever on AfterBuzz Networks, know that I feel Lashley is chocolate vanilla. Didn't think he had anything interesting to him until tonight. Until tonight, because the match he had with Humberto shows that Humberto can go. He's versatile. And sidebar, Humberto's as big as Lashley. Think about that. Anyway, but having him backstage and having someone look like him on his peer level say, I've traveled the world and came back as a producer. I got my lounge. I'm making matches on the fly. What are you doing? I can get with that. Him having his wife being like, I'm your wife, but not really making sure he wins when he's there. I can get with that. Here is something that's actually relatable as I could say, okay, I want him to win. I want him to do well. It took how many years on this main roster run? Almost 2.5? Jack Palmer, thoughts about Bobby Lashley? What's going on with him?
I think you're missing half the story, Flobo. The fact that he had this build with Lana, whether you liked it or not, it was emotional. It was heated. And whether or not it's been a while, they've been together, those two got fused together in a lot of emotional stuff. Now you've got someone who can actually put him at another level. A guy like MVP, who is the perfect manager for him, has the character to back it up, the mic skills to back it up. I think you can just tell when you see them together, it works. But now the fact that he's going to pull Lashley away from Lana, it's going to hurt. It's going to matter. It's not like when Leo Rush disappeared and we were like, I guess Leo Rush is gone. Lana versus MVP will be the story that makes Bobby Lashley a world title contender. I agree with Jim. That match will happen. Whether or not he wins or not, of course, I can't say just yet. But that match will happen. This will be the biggest year in Bobby Lashley's career. It's going to be because of Lana
make Bobby
and MVP.
Lashley interesting all of a sudden.
I think he absolutely will.
He already is interesting.
He'll be coming out. He's got the cool, like I said, that if you remember back the entrances that MVP used to have, the bling, the jewelry,
the trunks too,
the agents, the everything he has that cool superstar vibe that works in passing it off to somebody else. He's gonna be like Ari Gold. He's gonna be like The Rock in Ballers. It's gonna be great.
MVP not doing that in 2020, man. Nobody cares that he's here.
We
care. Me and Jack care.
I care.
Yeah.
MVP will give Bobby the juice, but to the mid card. I don't see him being a world title contender at all.
He's been already in a mid card. He's already been in a mid card for the longest time.
But he's gonna be an over in the mid card, and over in the real sense. Not the sense that Jim thinks over is somebody you like. I mean, actually over.
No, he didn't listen. I like only people who are over. Okay, and that's what matters. Jack spoke it. I mean, Jack laid it out for me. I laid it out. Jack, what else is there to say? He's even got cool new trunks to go with. I mean, so
all right,
look, Humberto Carrillo he's been off TV a little bit, but he came back and they gave him a strong look in that gauntlet match. And then Bobby Lashley beat him tonight. That's not just random booking. That's not something that just accidentally happened. They did that for a reason. They wanted to say Bobby Lashley is beating everyone at the level he's currently at, and it's time for the next level.
No question.
Speaking of the next level, your boys, the Legionnaires group, somehow the tension's going on the ranks. Angel Garza beats Akira Tozawa, which whatever. But Drew McIntyre comes out and claymores everybody. He claymores the entire squad and challenges Baron Corbin to a match. Sounds cool on paper. It doesn't make a lick of sense as far as him being a babyface champion. I'm gonna start with you, Jack Farmer. Drew McIntyre, was he in catering, bored out of his mind, and go, let me go beat up Austin Theory? What happened?
It's an interesting thing with Drew McIntyre. I like him, but I do think he's starting to get to that overexposed face Seth Rollins point where he's always coming out, always beating people, always talking every single show, and it's starting to feel like I want something more from him. This is the second time he beat Andrade, I think in...
Good that you paused. Cedric, what do you think?
Thanks, Jim.
Behind.
Oh, he's back.
He's been beating him up over and over again, and it's... I don't know. I don't know if it's the situation. I don't know if it's the way he's been booked. But I don't think we need to hear him talk every single week about Claymore Country.
Yeah, that's kind of lame. I give you that, Cedric.
Yeah, Drew has some corny taglines and stuff like that. I wouldn't call him overexposure because I think they're trying to emphasize that he's the guy now. What I don't like is that how strong he's booked. He's standing tall every single week, never on his back, and he's punked Zelina Stable, I feel like, every week for the past month. So it doesn't let her stable look credible at all.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And I think the one thing that's going stale with Drew is like they haven't built a credible challenger yet. Yes, Seth Rollins is a given. Is it too early? Yes or no? You can debate that. But it's like that credible challenger that leaves him on his back. We haven't seen that yet. And I think he's really benefiting from us not having any audience, because I think the fans will tell you everything you need to know. Is like, why the hell is he booked so strong every single week?
True.
Yeah, depth of
I'll tell you why.
It seems I was defeating Corbin to him, Jim.
Why is he being booked? He's the best thing. He is the champion we've wanted. For all these nerds out there, minions have been complaining for, switch up. We don't want Lesnar. This is what you got. You got the most accessible champion since Cena. Okay, the guy's always there every week. He's doing all the shows. He's doing all the promotion. He's cool. He looks the part. He's good in a ring. He's paid his dues. What's there not to like about this guy? I mean, with Rollins, you can say, he's still kind of small. He's like the CM Punk kind of version of a champion. This guy is what you want a champion to be. He's big. He's charismatic. He's fun. He's cool. He worked his way up. I mean, the story writes itself there. What's there to be overexposed about? I mean, this is what people have been clamoring for. We don't know what the audience is going to say, because here's the thing. When they were there, they were going crazy for this guy. And when you put Brock Lesnar, gives you the stamp of approval and lets you go over him in quick, clean fashion, you got to be a megastar. And he's proving that, because Brock Lesnar doesn't job out to anyone. He's the guy that squashed everyone. Undertaker's streak, Cena, and for Drew McIntyre to take care of him, that means something. Drew needs to be booked like a megastar. There's no one even around that has any sort of impact on even giving him a fight right now, because he should be destroying everyone until someone worthy comes around later on to book it as a big time match. Drew McIntyre is doing the right thing. I love Claymore Country. I might visit it when I leave the King's Court. He is the champion we wanted, and he's the best face champion they've had since Cena in his heyday.
I'm kind of torn, because I do feel like I don't think he's quite overexposed yet. I do think he's just got the title, and he is a specimen of a man. He won a fighting champion, is a good palate cleanser for someone like a Brock Lesnar who comes on certain dates. But the way to not do it is go after your hottest heel stable, or to demolish your United States champion, because you're just cannibalizing your roster. Now, I'm not saying give him Leon Ruff every week, but I'm saying you can't beat Andrade so often and so decisively back to back and helps out anybody. Because now Andrade looks weak as hell.
Well, I remember if
Andrade's done.
Here, something that they've missed, I think, WWE recently, is I go back to the old NWO days with like DDP, right? DDP would go in, he'd hit one of them, maybe hit the diamond cutter, and then roll out before the other guys get into the ring. And so the whole stable didn't look like they were destroyed. But the problem is, right now, Drew McIntyre is just wiping the floor with all of them and leaving them in a wreck. And you're like, well, he could beat all three of them. Why do I want to see him have a one-on-one match?
Exactly.
I think that's the problem. It's one thing when you hit and run, but when you just say, I'm going to kick all of you in the face, where do you go from there? And that's,
Jack, they don't matter. They don't matter. Okay, we learned that over the last few weeks that they're just show fillers. Okay, they're not. Zelina's a star of the group, and none of these guys are stars. Angel Garza has star potential, but Theory is clearly way over his head. He should not be on this roster. And Andrade is a huge disappointment. One of the most disappointing guys we've seen in the last couple of years.
He still has the title. I don't care if it's the appointment. He has a title. He has a title. If it's his appointment,
it's meaningless
no,
because
what I'm
he's
saying
not
is,
good.
If a road cone was United States champion, what is the point of being the United States champion if you're getting demolished every week? If you don't like Andrade, that's fine. But he is that
title
champion.
doesn't mean anything. That
title doesn't mean anything. Then that's the point. The point of having a championship is to say, in your division, you matter. So you have one champion to level someone so quick and cleanly, it makes everyone looks weak, right?
Ask them, not me, Flopo. I would have taken that title off of him months ago when he was injured and suspended and whatever he was. There's no way this guy should be holding on to the title. He's a jobber. He's literally a jobber right now. I don't remember when he won. He's taking classes from Shinsuke Nakamura on the mic. He's becoming worse and worse. You would like to see guys progress over the years. He's gotten worse, I feel, since he debuted. On the main roster. I think he's just gone backwards and there's no recovery at this point. He's just not good any way you put it. He's a good worker, but who the hell isn't? Especially coming out of NXT these days. There's nothing special about Andrade. I know they want to make him a Latino star. You got that in Angel Garza. Andrade's the only way he's hooking on this roster is because of Charlotte Flair.
No, I'm not playing that game. I'm not playing that game.
I will play that game. Because he would be in NXT right now. He'd be back in NXT because that dude is not over.
I love Andrade, but it's really hard to argue with Jim right now with how he's been presented. I love him. I wish the world for him. But the way he's been presented the past few months, it's really hard to put together an argument against what Jim is saying right now. He's been beaten by everybody. I don't know the last thing he's done that has been a real story. It's hard to argue. I love Andrade. I wish they gave him.
You take Zelina Vega from him. What is he? He's absolutely the bottom.
I was not defending Andrade. Hold on, you're missing the point. I'm not defending Andrade because I can sit there and agree with you. Sorry, Seth, I was asking a question real quick. I'm not defending Andrade. I'm not saying he's amazing. I'm saying is call him Wrestler X is your United States champion. You had your world champion beat Wrestler X twice, handedly, successively. That does nothing for the roster. So even though it's a filler match, you're not really helping anybody or that division. Why would Aleister Black want to be a United States champion if the one who holds that title is so easily beaten by the other person in the division? That's what I'm saying.
Aleister should be aiming higher. I think that title should be.
That's why no one's challenging him.
It was an example, Jim. I was just.
That title should be on a lesser mid-card guy going forward until it gets built up properly. Because right now, Aleister should not be challenging him. He should be going after Drew.
Cool. Cedric, final word on this?
Say that again?
Final word on the whole Drew McIntyre, Claymore country.
I mean, I'm not going to be that flagrant. I like Andrade a lot. I think he has a lot of potential going forward. I just think they booked him wrong. United States Championship matter. There's a lot of titles in the company that don't matter right now, and it's just because of booking. But the problem here is literally Drew McIntyre is not the problem. He's what we've all wanted, but you can't have him nerf everyone every single week because it's going to get old. The same things people cry about with Becky Lynch, you're going to cry about with Drew McIntyre.
That's true. He can't get pregnant, so props to that.
He's going to be around.
He can't get pregnant.
That we know.
So let's talk about this cinematic sketch here. Street Profits and the Viking Raiders had a challenge of basketball, and it looks like the Raw Tag Team Division is going to be basically those four men for the foreseeable future. Jim's already shaking his head. But before I do that, I want Jack's opinion because I understand you like the Street Profits, maybe a little bit more in NXT, but now we're seeing a different side of them than they were when they were just getting the smoke. Is this a side you want to see with the four men there tonight?
Of the Street Profits? I want to see the Street Profits have matches. I want to see them winning matches. Like, you can talk. I'm starting to feel like I sound like Evan Mack. You can have these cool promos, but you gotta wrestle matches if you're the champions. And the Viking Raiders, they need to make a decision. Are they Vikings or are they jokes? I mean, I feel like right now, if I'm one of the Viking Raiders, I'm looking at the Revivals leaving And I'm looking at the things that they were pitching to the Revival, and I'm saying to myself, that's coming our way right now. They're going to become the jokes. They're going to start getting the ones with itchy butt cream. That's where this team is going if they don't do something quick. Because how am I supposed to take them seriously? It wasn't.
They already are a joke, Jack. They already are. What did you not see in the last few weeks? What have you not seen in the last few weeks? Tell them they're done. They were supposed to be the monsters that came from NXT, just literally maulers of the division, of the tag team division. Them and the AOP. We were talking about them being a must-see WrestleMania match. They have become clowns. They have become jokes. I mean, this is all parody. Right now, what we're seeing from some of these angles.
That's what I just said. You cut me off to say I was wrong.
That's Jim for you. Dude, welcome to Raw, man.
Listen, Jack, you're saying they're on a verge or they're going to become, they already are, dude. They already are jokes. They're already done.
Yeah, that's
okay.
What I mean.
There's no coming back from that. They're already,
go.
They're a gimmick. They're a bad gimmick.
You guys are agreeing to that. Now, Cedric, I want your opinion on this because you are the fresh blood here on Monday Night Raw. We're talking about the whole Viking Raiders being WrestleMania worthy months ago on the show, but this is your first time. Thoughts about the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders now with the Vietnamese division?
Maybe I'm in the minority, but I liked it. I thought it was entertaining. I laughed so hard when I heard check, ball is good. That's entertaining. And the problem with the Viking Raiders, they haven't had personality since they debuted. They were dead in the water when they had the 3 name changes in the first week.
Fair.
That's the problem. That was the problem. And now you're finally allowing them to show some personality. And even if it's at the detriment of the Street Profits, who can already get over on the mic, you're allowing the Viking Raiders to show some charisma, and they need that so fans can actually be engaged in them. Their title reign meant nothing. So if they're going to do these type of segments on and off for the next couple of weeks that might lead to a heel turn, I'm all for it. Because they're unlike certain characters, they're not going to drop down back to NXT. Neither of these groups are, and we don't know how many other people are quarantined right now. So this is what we have in the tag team division. It's best to just try to enjoy it for what it is and see what happens.
Yeah, bring them a Viking horn and start throwing candy into the no crowd. They'll be right up down. They're like the Lucha House Party of the Viking. They're Lucha House Party Viking version of it. That's what they're turning into.
Viking.
They start axe throwing next week. Everybody's gonna love it. Everybody will love it if they axe throw next
joke.
week.
Well, okay,
if they throw, it was a fun little twist that they were actually good at basketball in the end. But this is one of those things that's entertaining today, but this team will be worthless after this feud is over. They're not going to come back from it. You got to think about, this is a team I look at like the Road Warriors. They're supposed to come in and just squash people and crush them, except their run was bad because they didn't actually ever beat anyone of importance. And then they just lost the titles in the first real challengers they had. They need to be presented as a serious, decimating tag team that can beat real people. But now for me, the bit's done. I'm never gonna take them seriously as a scary group unless they go to like SmackDown and restart. But was it funny today? Yeah. Am I gonna take them seriously 3 months from now if they're doing this stuff? No, they'll be a Lucha House Party.
Let me ask you a question, Jack, because I mean you are the voice of the AEW Dynamite After Show on AfterBuzz TV. Because I had a very similar feeling about this about a month ago. I'm okay. I'm a fan, a very casual fan of a group at AEW called the Inner Circle. And a couple of weeks ago, they had a bunch of sketches called the Bubbly Bunch. And to me, it was kind of jarring to see Ortiz and Santana doing this comedy bit when they're supposed to be these Puerto Rican brawlers from New York. But it was kind of understandable it was for comedy. It was okay. But here, the Viking Raiders, even though basketball isn't the same as talking to your friends on the phone, is there not room for comedy on Raw? Or should all characters be serious? Or you think these guys specifically, because they're Vikings, need to be serious to get over?
The biggest difference right here with that versus this, the Tito and Ortiz are not in the midst of a feud for the titles, and they're not interacting with the champions while they're doing this. If they were being silly and joking around while in the middle of a feud for the titles and being silly with the champions, that ruins it. If they're yucking it up with their friends backstage, especially when you're in a big stable like that, they're supposed to be obnoxious jerks. They're in a big stable. The Viking Raiders are different, though. You can't go back to being serious. Like the Undertaker can't come out and be like, "I'm playing basketball," and then come out later and be like,
"I'd be so over." I would see the hell out of that.
If Aleister Black turned out to be amazing at table tennis and was playing table tennis with the people he was feuding with, we'd be like, "What are you doing?" And that's what they're doing. In my opinion, that's what they're doing with the Viking Raiders.
Still
right
on
now.
board.
That's wrestling. You got to suspend your beliefs sometime, man.
I just-
No,
No,
he got
we've
thrown
tried-
off a roof and he
Listen.
appeared.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. This is 1994 all over again. Where is Doink the Clown coming out? I mean, we have seen through this quarantine.
Was it him on Money in the Bank?
It completely.
Yeah, he
who
was.
the hell
He was
knows
there.
what it was?
He was there actually.
Was he? Wow, I missed it. Luckily, here's the thing: it's turning. Everything's a farce now. It literally is. We're turning into a cartoon, like it was in the early days. I mean, there's so much gimmick or and like cheesy kid, amateur, sophomoric gimmickry. I mean, you're telling me there's guys. Listen, my boy Baron Corbin killed 2 people last night at Money in the Bank. You understand that?
You don't say murderers are your boy. You don't say murderers are your boy. My boy committed crimes.
And they came back to life 24 hours later. Okay.
In fact, Rey Mysterio was just pretty sore from it.
I mean, it's just gimmickry.
Rey Mysterio
Everything is
shouldn't have come back. It didn't work out for him.
No,
He didn't even have any bruises. Okay, he was all good. Seth put more beat into him. But
Final
here's the thing: we're seeing it
destination,
all
when
over.
you fight death, it doesn't work out well.
We're seeing it all over. It's gimmick overload. We have that Walrus as potentially a champion. Like, this is beyond ludicrous. I mean, I don't even know what to say. It's beyond lunatic. It's not even a lunatic fringe. Okay, that's a different show. But this is craziness. This is absolute crazy what's going on. It's like 5-year-olds have taken over, and we're watching this show for 5-year-olds. It's too much kiddie behavior and content, man. That's why Drew McIntyre is so over, because he looks like he's the only legitimate like wrestler, because everyone's got a stupid, lame, childish gimmick to him.
We're in a
Besides
PG
my
era.
boy.
Hey, look, okay.
This is like PG era B minus that. It's like for 10-year-olds and under. It's not even PG. Like, you can't even have a 11-year-old watch this.
Who do you think watches
Pixar
wrestling
makes
shows?
PG movies, but they still have serious points in it.
Well, here's the thing.
Serious
He's
plot.
like, if I Nemo's mom, man, she's
Hold
dead.
Flobo, a month ago, we were seeing Lana and Liv Morgan in a lesbian storyline, and now we're seeing like childish gimmick. Like, this is
That's
a
fair.
huge
That
shit.
was a bad
Jim,
storyline.
Jim, you
Jump,
can't
though.
do shock value if there's no one to around to be shocked. That's why they're doing it. It's all dead air and space. Trust me, I
But
could
why
make.
are you doing this? Is not making the product any good. But that's the meaning.
Oh, well, lesbian angles are great, right? Come on, Jim. I
Listen,
can't with you,
hey,
man.
You wanted to go, you have Rey Mysterio calling someone a dick tonight, but then you see stuff for like 9-year-olds. How are you going to weight it? Which direction are we going here? Okay, you
Right.
can't have childish angles and stuff and then try to play the card with Paul Heyman. You know, he's trying to make his guys badasses and try to be,
You
know,
call
risque.
it childish, not me. I don't think it's childish. I think there's some humor, there's some
Sophomoric.
levity in there, because that's what makes it entertaining over 3 hours. You in the movie The Avengers, where the whole world has disappeared for a very long time. The whole world disappeared. They still cut jokes, different scenes. That's Joss Whedon's formula. So I never call it. It's called levity, Jim. I don't think it's childish.
Let me jump in here. I think if Shane Thorne and Brandon Vink were the ones playing basketball with the Street Profits, it'd be a different story. Yeah, the Viking Raiders should be a serious team. If it was someone else, I think it's fine. I think I'm just protecting. Like, the way for the Viking Raiders to work is they've got to be serious. If it was a different team, I'm fine. But I think that's where my hang up is that
No one's
this is
serious
a team
anymore,
that's supposed to
Jack.
be serious.
I don't know,
More
but
than half
I've
the
watched the
roster's
fat
not
guy that
serious.
does cartwheels and stuff too, so I don't think it's that far-fetched, man. Like,
Hard to say, but we're running out of time. But I want to thank you all for checking out this edition of the Monday Night Raw After Show exclusively on AfterBuzz TV Wrestling and Sports. Cedric, it's been a pleasure for you having us tonight. Where can the world find you online? Which social media?
you can find me on IG at Said is the Answer and Twitter at Said Says. That's CEDD_says.
And Jack Farmer, you're not selling out the MeUndies. Where can the world find you online?
You can find me at jackcfarmer.com, as well as at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. You can also check me out on the AEW Dynamite After Show every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on AfterBuzz TV. Also, big news for everyone who's tuning in. If you watch Jack and Flobo wrestle with your questions, you already know, but this week, Wednesday morning, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Jack Farmer, Flobo Boys, we are interviewing the one and only Vince Russo. We're going to be asking him all sorts of questions, and he's going to give us all sorts of answers right here on AfterBuzz TV. Check it out. You're not going to want to miss this one, folks.
Yo, and Jim, even though we argue, you still my boy. Where can the world find you online, good sir?
That's good. Could I have someone having my back finally? All you nerds, you minions, you can tweet at me. It doesn't matter. Half of you are blocked anyway. It's at the Jim Alexander. I don't need your likes or tweets. I don't care about that because the King's got his court, man. The King's got his fellowship. The King's got the Real Talker, okay? RealTalker.com, Real Talker YouTube. You can see actually some good content thanks to the King. And then you can send Patreon, man. That's where I'm starting. I'm doing big things on Patreon now. Big interviews are going. Sugar Ray Leonard interview on Patreon, man. Woo! Patreon.the Jim Alexander. I got the champ Sugar Ray Leonard, man, talking about UFC and boxing and who are his favorite fighters. Only for my Patreon people.
Dang, man, you got a Patreon squad. That's right. My name is Flo. The website is flopito.com. During these times, support the homie and buy a t-shirt at flopito.threadless.com. And the Patreon for me is patreon.com/FloboBoys. New content there bi-weekly. But until next time, buzz you later.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.